I think what they're missing is a quality Super Bowl-bound quarterback. Neither Wade Wilson or Tommy Kramer has had the kind of season so far this year that's going to get them very far in the playoffs.
As far as the Buccaneers are concerned, they've had a lot of yardage from their quarterback, Vinny Testaverde, but the defense has given up 130 points over the last 3 games, so they're looking for that winning formula.
Well, you can't talk about stats so much with Tampa Bay. Vinny has had a good season, or a good last 4 games, has played very, very effectively. Coach Ray Perkins told us, though, the key to this game is running the ball. They must run the ball 45 times to beat the Minnesota Vikings. You can't keep throwing against this team. They will sack you. They will kill you.
Well, it's 82 degrees here, and they show the wind at 10 miles per hour, a little breezier up top, perhaps, than it is down on the field. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to our left and right will have the ball first. Rich Karlis, the man of the moment. Last week for the Vikings, 7 consecutive field goals, 7 for 7 in the win over the Rams. Merriweather's safety providing the winning points in overtime. Karlis kickoff deep into the Tampa end zone will not be brought back. And so the Bucs will start from their 20-yard line. We mentioned Tampa Bay with 130 points against in their last 3 games. In their loss to Cleveland a week ago, Vinny Testaverde had big numbers. He did not have those kind of numbers in his last meeting with Minnesota, as you can see. 6 of 23. Now they've got 2 non-starters, McHale and Bax at the guards, with Bruin and Simmons out hurt. Drury and Frank Killo are the extra men in the passing downs. Lars Tate, 7, maybe 8 yards. The running they hope to sustain today. They'll have to do it against this fearsome front. Al Noga doing a good job in his 2nd year at left defensive end. The linebacking core, Ray Berry, has won a spot after the folks were traded to Dallas, namely Howard and Solomon. McMillan and Fullington come in their nickel and dime defenses. We may see Brad Edwards getting some work at his old safety spot, currently occupied by Travis Curtis. 2nd and 2, Tampa Bay. James Wilder stuffed for a loss. Barry was there, Studwell was there, and Chris Dolman. Ray Perkins planning to start James Wilder today after the very good performance he had on the losing effort last week against the Cleveland Browns. The veteran fresh-legged now because he hasn't really seen as much action as he normally would in the first half of the season. 31 years of age in his 9th year. Has 109 yards rushing on the season. 4 wide receivers in now for the Bucs on 3rd and 4. Testaverde gets time, but it's short of the first down. Only about a 2-yard gain to Carrier. So while they protected Testaverde well, they didn't pick up the first down, and Tampa Bay will punt.
That was a curious play call there, Tim, against a tough, aggressive defensive backfield like the Minnesota Vikings have. To bring things short and underneath like that has got to be a challenging at best.
Chris Moore, the rookie punter. Leo Lewis waiting for it. Well-angled, low driving punt takes Lewis back to the 28. And Lewis scrambles up to the 36-yard line of Minnesota, a 41-yarder for the Alabama rookie, Chris Moore. So the Vikings have their first offensive possession. Wade Wilson continues as the starter. In his last meeting, this is where he was hurt. He was 3 for 3 and then suffered a broken knuckle in a freak accident with a tackle that injured that hand. Offensively, a very solid offensive front. Veterans all, except for Todd Kalis. Herschel Walker and Rick Fenny in the backfield. Gustafson and Lewis come in on the passing downs. Walker on first down and held to a gain of about a yard. First contact by Reuben Davis, number 79. Vikings without Alfred Anderson today. Suffered an arch injury. Is on the inactive list. Will probably be out of action 2 or 3 weeks. Defensively for Tampa Bay, Kurt Jarvis on the nose, Rondi Weston for the injured Robert Pig Goff. Sean Lee comes in on passing downs. A very good linebacking core. And returning to that secondary, Harry Hamilton, who has 5 interceptions. And the Buccaneers have not won a game since he was lost to their lineup. Walker stuffed again. Maybe a yard. Irvin Randall, number 54, made the first contact.
This is a very physical Tampa Bay defense. Teams do not make their living running inside against this team. Jarvis, their nose guard, number 95, is having a very, very good season so far. And Irvin Randall is starting to live up to those Pro Bowl, All-Pro type of toutings.
There's an injured Viking down. And we'll take this time out and return to Tampa Bay in a moment. Looks like Steve Jordan. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross at Tampa Stadium. Steve Jordan has gone to the Vikings bench with an injury. Got caught in a pileup there on the last play. He came into the game with an ankle that's bothered him all year, and he told us yesterday he finally felt like it was just about 100%. In fact, he was eager to get back into the Vikings passing game. He feels he's been overlooked. 3rd down, a long 6 from the shotgun. Wilson. Fenny, 1st down, Vikings to their own 48-yard line. Rick Fenny out of the backfield. Bobby Futrell, the nickelback, number 36, made the stop.
You know, Tim, offensive coordinator Bob Schnelker has gotten a world of criticism probably in the last 4 or 5 days. A lot of the writers up in Minnesota came to his defense and said, hey, this guy, it's not his fault. He's not responsible for all these terrible things that have happened. And Bob Schnelker is, in my opinion, doing a fine job. Bob Schnelker there with the glasses, with the lineup card underneath his arm.
1st down, they go to double tight end formation. Play action, Wilson with lots of time, and overthrows the intended target. Was apparently Anthony Carter. Deep downfield behind him was Hassan Jones. But it appeared that Carter, in the middle of the field, was the intended receiver.
You know, getting the ball early to Anthony Carter is one of the constants for the Minnesota Vikings. They like to get Anthony Carter involved early. He seems to play much, much better when you get him that ball in the 1st quarter, a couple of catches. If you neglect him and let him sit till the 2nd, 3rd quarter, he almost mentally gets out of the game and almost loses interest.
And as those stats would show there, he hasn't had as much activity in the last several games. 2nd and 10. Deep sideline complete. Carter has it. And a 1st down. Vikings at the 36-yard line of Tampa Bay. Ricky Reynolds made the tackle out there.
Carter's in a unique kind of a pressure situation, too. You see him here at the top of the screen, number 81. Pushes Reynolds off the ball there and comes back to the pass. But, you know, he had those great playoff games, and all of a sudden everybody expected him to play like that every single week. Anthony Carter is a good, quality wide receiver. I don't think he's in the class of a Jerry Rice or an Al Toon.
1st down from the 36. Schnelker says they do like to get the ball to him early in the game because he does tend to be streaky. This is Walker. One-on-one hit, driving him back. The nose man, Kurt Jarvis, 275 pounds worth on Walker, holding him to about a 2-yard gain. Jarvis, the 2nd-year man from Alabama. Redskins take the early lead over the Eagles, and Buffalo on top of Indianapolis.
You know, that play there, Tim, is a good illustration of the strength of Herschel Walker. All those guys hit him. He's got a 275-pound nose guard trying to throw him to the ground, and he never left his feet.
Steve Jordan has returned to the Vikings lineup. Good news for Vikings fans. Carter in motion. Wilson will be short of the 1st down, diving in about a yard short of the marker, depending on the spot. And some extra pushing after the play by Kirk Loudermilk, the center, number 63, and a couple of Bucs defenders.
This is the one dimension Wade Wilson does add to this Minnesota Viking offense. He will scramble. He'll go for the rushing yards. He pulls the ball down, sees there's nothing really available, and smartly goes to the ground. You see Loudermilk. Look at Loudermilk, number 63. Irvin Randall doesn't like centers are troublemakers. They like to do stuff like that.
3rd 3rd and under a yard. Walker took a real shot and was flipped up. Appeared to have the first down in hand as a result of that, and it was Reuben Davis who really put a rip on him.
Watch Jarvis in the middle of the screen, number 95. Loudermilk can't get him. He picks Finney off. He's trying to lead block, and then Davis flips Herschel Walker into the air. Not much for yardage, but great for style points.
Well, and the spot did not give them the first down. I thought he was there. Dozier comes in. It'll be 4th and a football. Stopped him. Rick Finney on a straight dive, and they're going to measure this one. Marv and Robinson there to stop him.
Tampa Bay is playing short yardage defense like you're supposed to. They're down underneath the Minnesota Vikings. I think Finney just barely got it. He just had enough forward momentum before they pushed him back. Minnesota's opening drive now to the 26-yard line of Tampa Bay. They've used up 4:43 on the clock. This is the kind of a drive Ray Perkins wanted to have for his Buccaneers, feeling he's got to run against that awesome pass rush of the Vikings. Finney for 5. That was a good, quick little trap play. You know, Jerry Burns takes a lot of pride in the fact that his offensive line and his offense in general works on those trap plays like crazy. And Finney is a good running back for those. He's not a darter, not a stylish back. A trap has to be hitting hard and has to be hitting quick.
Burns also told us that even though they're changing some things to accommodate Herschel Walker, they also expect him to adapt to their basic philosophy, which is a lot of trapping on the offensive running plays. Walker is dropped for a loss. Reuben Davis.
Well, Minnesota gets down around the 20-yard line, down in the red zone. This is the part of the field they have had the most trouble with all season long. They are not scoring effectively when they get down here. Last week, great example. 7 times they're kicking field goals. You can't win in the NFL with those sorts of stats.
3rd down after 6 consecutive runs. They go to the shotgun. Gustafson just off his fingertips. So Rich Carlos will get his first field goal kicking opportunity today. 7 for 7 a week ago, forcing the overtime that led to the Merriweather safety for the victory over the Rams.
He's going to start building up a heck of a callus on the side of that bare foot with all these field goals the Minnesota Vikings will be kicking.
Well, you know, actually, an interesting thing about Carlos is he hits it from the 31-yard line, a 41-yard shot that is good. Rich Carlos has him on top, 3-0.
We asked Mike Schmidt to help us show you why the new half-ton Chevy work truck is better than Ford. With more two-sided galvanized steel, more standard power, and a new Duragrill that's tougher than Ford.
The lawyers told me I couldn't hit a Ford like this. Know why? You know why. Nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America. Today's truck is Chevrolet.
Rich Carlos, a 41-yard field goal, his longest of the season, opens a 3-0 lead for the Vikings. And you mentioned the callus that he must be developing. I started to say that Carlos uses an antiseptic dressing that they put on horses' hooves on his kicking foot to keep that callus soft and from cracking in the cold weather.
Well, he's lucky to have that dome in Minnesota.
Yes, he is. And he nails this kickoff deep again. That one comes down near the end line. Donnie Elder had no shot at it. So they'll start from the 20, and Vinny Testaverde and Ray Perkins get ready to start the Bucs offense.
He says, run the ball, Vinny. Don't worry about it. Run the ball.
Here's how they stand right now atop each division. 49ers and the Giants both with those 8-1 records. And the wild card picture is muddled, to say the least. A lot of folks still involved, and you can't even count out Tampa Bay at 3-6. They need a run, and they hope to get that started here today.
10th game of the season, we're already at the what-if stage. Well, what if so-and-so beat so-and-so? What if...
Tate and Wilder, the running backs. Wilder for 4. James Wilder, they've been using this guy on special teams. You think back to the better days of the Bucs and even the lean days of the Bucs when he was kind of the only weapon they had. He was their glamour guy, their big star, and now relegated to the special teams, making his first start today.
And he's got a great attitude about it, Sam. You know, he said, I looked at the depth chart for special teams. I was 3rd, 4th, 5th string. All of a sudden, I'm on special teams. I'm covering kickoffs. I'm bringing back, kickoffs. He's got a fantastic attitude, and he's playing on these things. He's playing fullback. He likes to block. Ray Perkins says he's a fine blocker.
He's also played well against the Vikings. That contributed to his getting the start today. Lars Tate, good defensive pursuit. Merriweather and Dolman stretching him out and dropping him for the loss of about a yard, it would appear, at least no gain. Chicago on top of Pittsburgh 7-0. Washington with a field goal lead. Jerry Burns was asked recently if he was tired of seeing Mike Ditka doing all those TV commercials, and Burns' reply was, I'm just glad to see him get beat, that's all. Didn't care what he was doing with his TV commercials. Sylvester Stamps in for the first time, number 24, along with Willie Drury, an extra wide receiver on 3rd down. Bruce Hill, loose ball. Reggie Rutland, touchdown. Well, you can hear there are some Viking fans here. It's usually the case in Tampa Bay where the visitors have a lot of fans. Many come down because of the warm weather, obviously, and come along with the team, and of course many transplanted Minnesotans here out to cheer the Vikings. So Reggie Rutland picking up that loose ball after Hill had made the catch. But when he took the hit, the ball came loose, and the replay men are checking to make sure that he had full possession of the football before he lost it.
That's just the kind of break or kind of bad luck that really doomed them last week against Cleveland. Tampa Bay, Vinny Testaverde within a 19-second span threw 2 touchdowns to the Cleveland Browns. They've got to get off to a consistent, solid start. And we see Vinny's going to throw this ball. And the thing to look for here, as we see Hill cross over the middle and catch this ball, does he have full possession? You have to have 2 feet on the ground. Great tackle. I mean, the tackle itself was probably the highlight of the play right there.
Brad Edwards, number 27, made the hit.
Finally back after having an injury. And Edwards, it looks like it was a catch. And Rutland was right there to pick up the scraps.
Open end zone in front of Rutland. The replay men will determine if they can, from the view you just saw, whether or not he had possession.
By replay, the play stands. Touchdown.
So there's one you can't blame on Testaverde. He had the ball there.
You can't blame Bob Snelker either.
No, that's right. 4th defensive touchdown scored by the Vikings this season. Harless for the point after. And Minnesota has a 10-0 lead, but flags are down. The Vikings have not won outdoors this year, oddly enough. They're 0-3. and eager to get off to a good start here in Tampa Bay, and have done so. And evidently it was either an inadvertent flag or no flag at all. We'll be back. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross at Tampa Stadium, where the Vikings have taken a 10-0 lead. Reggie Rutland picking up the fumble by Bruce Hill and taking it in 27 yards for the score.
You see, earlier in the year, first 5 weeks, Tampa Bay 3-2 when their opponents off those turnovers only got 14 points. 66 points in the last 4 weeks.
Always the killer. Donnie Elder. Stopped by Brent Novoselsky. And Tampa will start from their 16-yard line.
From a confidence standpoint, right now, it's very key, I believe, for Vinny Testaverde to get in here and get a drive going. He had those 2 bad interceptions last week for touchdowns. He seemed a little bit shaken when we talked to him Friday. His confidence level definitely seemed a little low. He's in his 3rd year, and people expect a lot of good things out of him. No, they expect great things out of Testaverde.
I formation to start. Wilder, the lead back, struggles for a couple. And the Bluebirds out already. Noga made the stop, number 99.
Well, Ray Perkins seems committed to his pre-game philosophy of wanting to pound the ball at the Vikings and run the ball, but you get very far behind and you start having to throw the ball against this defense. It can get ugly real quick with guys like Millard and Dolman and Noga coming after you.
Don Smith into the Bucs lineup and is lined up as a wide receiver, number 47. Intended for Bruce Hill, off target, 3rd down. Tampa Stadium, good crowd on hand. They expected over 60,000. It seats 75 here. And with the lack of success, they don't see too many sellouts. So today, a good house on hand on a beautiful sunny afternoon in Tampa, Florida. Third down for Testaverde and the Bucs. 4 receivers out. Wilder the lone setback. Vikings counter with 6 defensive backs. Testaverde is sacked. First of the day, Henry Thomas, first man to get there. Millard right behind him, pinning him.
We talked earlier about Vinny Testaverde's confidence. But one of the things that does not exactly instill confidence is looking across the line and you see Millard and Dolman and Thomas. You see right there, just goes by him, and Millard cleans him up and puts Vinny on the ground. You look at 75 on a constant basis, having to throw the ball. He could get 4 or 5 sacks today if Tampa does not start running the ball effectively.
Moore's punt fielded by Lewis at the 48 of Minnesota. And he makes a good move to get to the 45 of Tampa Bay. 40-yard punt and a flag down back at the line of scrimmage. Sylvester Stamps made the stop. Referee today is Dick Jorgensen. And the Vikings will have a choice to make. Penalty is against the Bucs.
Anthony, I think they have the idea that it was holding. You know, Ray Perkins says these kind of mistakes, these penalties and fumbles and dropping passes, those are the things that are killing this Tampa Bay team. It's killing their morale.
Jerry Burns opts for a re-kick. Chris Moore will be punting from the Buccaneers end zone.
Holding, number 85, offense, half the distance to the goal line, still 4th down.
Jackie Walker tabbed with holding. Former linebacker, now a tight end, and of course plays on the specials. Chris Moore, the Alabama rookie, their 6th pick this year, has had 42 punts, averaging 39.8. He's at the end line for this one. Lewis from the 45 of Tampa Bay and gets inside the 35. So Minnesota with excellent field position. Tripped up there by Stamps. We'll be back with the Vikings on top. A view from Tampa Stadium of St. Joseph's Hospital in downtown Tampa, and we're happy to report that Buccaneer owner Hugh Culverhouse is out of there today. He was in for surgery Thursday evening on a blocked artery in his neck, and things went very, very well indeed, and he was released from the hospital today, and we understand is at home with a technological way of viewing the game today, despite the fact it's blacked out in Tampa, and we send him our best. Mr. Culverhouse hoping things get turned around for his Buccaneers here. First down, Vikings. Deep for Carter, incomplete. Tight coverage down the sideline by Rod Jones, the cornerback, number 22. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross at Tampa Stadium. We're in the first quarter of play here in Tampa, 2:49 to go. And the Vikings scored on their first offensive possession and then added a touchdown by Rutland on an interception return for a score.
It's thus far been a typical 1989 Minnesota Vikings game. A tough, stifling defense and pretty much an inept offense kind of wandering around and hoping they can make something happen.
From the 35-yard line, 2nd and 10. Wade Wilson to the 11-yard line, where Rod Jones caught up with him. A nifty piece of running. 23 yards for the quarterback.
It's plays like this that have been missing from the Minnesota Viking offense. You know, Coach Bob Schnelker of the Vikings says, our quarterbacks just have not been making the big play. This is a big play. Gets down to 11-yard line before Rod Jones runs him out of bounds. Wade Wilson's got deceptive speed. For a quarterback, he moves really, really well.
210-pounder. Stands 6'3", but he can move it. Wide open in the flat. Walker inside the 5. Reynolds drove him out. That's a play that the Vikings would like to use a lot to Walker. If you get this guy in motion and can get him the ball when he's at full steam, he is awfully hard to stop.
You know, I think you made the point yesterday, Tim, that Herschel's not really crazy about lining up out there as a wide receiver in the slot. You know, and he said, I'd rather not. I'd rather come out of the backfield. I'm an eye back, but I'm an eye back that can catch the ball. That's unusual for an eye back.
He was never happy in the Landry offense at Dallas for that reason when they started lining him up in the slot. He's a running back. 3 tight ends are in here now on 2nd and 2. They can get a first down without scoring. Wilson pressured, throws it out of bounds. John Cannon had the rush.
We mentioned it earlier, but this is the part of the field where Minnesota has had the most problems this year. There have been various reasons. I think the fans and other people back in Minnesota want to say the play selection is terrible. I believe the reality of the situation has been they're making mental mistakes, they're blowing assignments, they're dropping balls, they're fumbling. You know, coaches don't play. I haven't met a coach yet that took a snap.
Penny and Dozier are in, Walker out. Touchdown! Jordan.
That'll make that ankle feel a little bit better.
That'll make Bob Schnelker feel a little bit better. Irvin Randall, you saw him unhappy, trying to keep Jordan out of the end zone. But Steve Jordan said yesterday, diplomatically as he could, he wanted the ball more and become more of their passing offense. Comes up with a touchdown. Carlos for the point after. We're still in the first period with 2:24 to go, and it's a 17-0 Vikings lead.
If you're the Minnesota Vikings, you got to like having a matchup where you can get Jordan matched up against any one of the Tampa Bay linebackers. They're tough, they're physical, they're good run defenders, but guys like Irvin Randall, number 54, there just are not quite quick enough to stay with Steve Jordan. And here we'll see it again, and it's just a very, very simple play. Jordan just goes far enough into the end zone to be there, and Wilson just zips the ball over to him. It's clearly a case of he beat Randall one-on-one. And look at Wilson. Finally, why couldn't I have done that last week?
There's Bob Schnelker talking to Wade Wilson, and interesting hearing the 2 points of view. And you talk to the quarterback, accepting a lot of the blame on the part of the quarterbacks and the rest of the offensive players for not executing on behalf of Schnelker's plan. And Schnelker saying virtually the same thing. I mean, he just felt that, hey, we've been making the right calls. Our guys just haven't been doing the job, and we hope the second half of the season things will turn around. He felt his quarterbacks have not been delivering the goods, and he said that about some other players as well. Fumble on the kickoff, and is just buried in time by Sylvester Stamps at the 12-yard line.
Sylvester Stamps fumbled and recovers his own.
Stamps pummeled on the play, gets up slowly.
This has got to be one of the loneliest feelings in the world when you're back there as a kick returner. Everybody else is running away from you. They're going to block, and the thing goes and hits you in the stomach, falls on the ground. Then you can't find it. Then they start spearing you with helmets, and guys are kneeing you, and you just want to get off the ball and go to the sideline and get a drink.
So Testaverde having to start deep here on this series, down 17-0. The running game plan will go out the window. Passing on first down to the tight end Hall.
Well, as long as that window's open and they're throwing out the game plan, I think they also ought to throw out these little short dinkum kind of passes, because this is going to get them little or nothing against this tough, aggressive Minnesota defense. They've got to start taking some chances.
Pickup of only 2 on that pass. We mentioned Carl Bax and Tom McHale both starting for the injured guards, John Bruin and Mike Simmons, who are both on injured reserve. Bax a rookie, Tom McHale a converted defensive end in his 3rd year in the NFL, and having to face the likes of that Vikings rush. Lars Tate stopped for no gain, maybe a loss of a yard. Ray Berry, the linebacker, number 50, made the stop. Lions lead Green Bay in the 2nd quarter, and the Bears score remains the same into the 2nd. Likewise, Washington over the Eagles.
See Joe Ferguson there, number 12, on the sideline for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Probably older than half the coaches Tampa has on their staff.
3 wide receivers and Don Smith, running back, in on the 3rd down play. Bruce Hill hangs on to this one after a tremendous shot. Audrey McMillan, but Hill made sure to hang on that time.
Somebody tell Hill to answer that phone that's ringing. But Vinny takes a chance. I said you got to take chances. Here's a chance. He tries to drop one in between the zone. Hill cradles it, and look at that Hill. Audrey McMillan just accelerates right before he gets to Hill and just drove right through him.
McMillan probably remembered that old Johnny Cash song, A Boy Named Sue, because he's made sure that everybody knows his name is Audrey with an A, not Audrey with an E. We've come to the end of the 1st quarter at Tampa Stadium. Minnesota with a 17-0 lead.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Miller Lite. America's favorite light beer brings you the Miller Lite All-Star Super Bowl game. AC Delco, automotive parts that don't just fit, they match. And by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America.
Well, you saw the beautiful Sunshine Skyway Bridge, and look at downtown Tampa Bay. A lot of new building going on downtown, and it certainly is a very progressive city with lots of things happening here in this beautiful part of the country. Beginning of the second quarter, Buccaneers first down at their own 32-yard line. Testaverde is sacked way back at the 16. Randy, it looked like he was trying to make a screen pass play there with the way he was dropping, but it didn't appear that things were set up for the screen. There's a flag down, and Testaverde is down as well.
Well, the flag, no doubt, given the area it's thrown in, is probably offensive holding.
Holding, number 60, offense, decline, second down.
Randy Grimes, the center, charged with the holding. Dolman made the hit on him.
Well, you're working inside against this Minnesota defense. Number 75, Millard, gets off the ball so fast, and Thomas comes around completely free, and Vinny just gets desperate and tries to go somewhere and rolls right into the arms of Dolman. See Dolman, Vinny got a little tweak there on his leg. Yeah, he got kneed right in the side of the leg. That's the sort of standard operating procedure.
15-yard loss, and from the replay, clearly it was not intended to be a screen. He just got backed up that far. Lars Tate gets a couple of the 20, and naturally the crowd jumps all over that, but that's not a bad play in that situation.
In this situation, 17-0, these Minnesota offensive linemen are doing one thing. They're drawing a bead on number 14 and trying to put a hasty end to his day. I mean, that Floyd Peters teaches these defensive linemen, and Floyd Peters is the defensive coordinator for the Vikings. You go and rush the passer. If a guy goes by you with the ball who's trying to run with it, tackle him too, but get the quarterback.
Testaverde introduced rudely to Joey Browner.
Here's Keith Millard, number 75, working against Bubba Grimes, number 60 at center for Tampa Bay. And here's a little twisting game. You saw Thomas go in front of him. Millard will watch the films tomorrow and not be happy with himself for missing that sack. And here Vinny's trying to be a runner, and Browner's trying to point out to him, Vinny, you're not a runner. It seemed to move on Lewis at the last minute, and he had to back up, and you saw him just kind of bounce off his hands. And Stamps is doing what the end on the punt team's supposed to do. He's supposed to get down into that return guy's face, and he kind of makes up for fumbling that last kickoff for the Tampa Bay Bucs.
Unfortunately for Stamps, he didn't lose that one, but last week he had a couple of miscues, plays that he wasn't sure of, and cost him some time out. So that's a big play for that guy who can be a very dangerous player for you. First down and goal. Testaverde threw it away under pressure from Dolman.
You see Tampa inside the 20, very, very good. They've done a heck of a job with that this year, and one of the key reasons for that has been Vinny Testaverde. He keeps his poise, and he keeps his patience when he gets down here near the end zone. Now here is a curious stat. That is misleading, though. They're ranked last in the league inside the 20, but look, their opponents have only gotten down there 21 times in 9 weeks.
Studwell. Al Noga underneath him.
Scott Studwell out of the University of Illinois. He seems to get better and better every year. You know, Scott and I came into the league at the same time. For some reason, he looks a lot younger than me, though. Now, that looks like a linebacker, doesn't it? Look at that blood all over his leg. He probably cuts his knuckles in the locker room before the game just so he can get a little blood flowing. He and Spielman from Detroit like to see blood.
3rd and goal inside the 5 from the shotgun. Testaverde trying to find a man. He's got one. Incomplete, intended for Carrier. Carrier and Drury wound up crossing near the post as they saw Testaverde having difficulty. And the Bucs will go for the field goal.
You shouldn't have that situation with 2 wide receivers like that, or 2 receivers in general in the same area of the end zone. When you see your quarterback getting pressure and having to move and roll out, you have to move with him, not away from him.
Donald Igwebuike is perfect inside the 35 in his career. This is a 22-yard chip shot for him. And he's got it. So the Bucs are on the board. Early here in the 2nd quarter, 12:06 to play. Vikings 17 and the Buccaneers 3.
This NFL Game Summary is sponsored by Citicorp, because Americans want to succeed, not just survive.
Tim Ryan and Randy Cross, Minnesota leading 17-3 now that the Buccaneers are on the board with the field goal by Igwebuike. Christian Okoye leading the league in rushing, unable to start today for Kansas City. That'll be a big loss. He's got a thigh bruise. 49ers and Giants off to a great start.
Oh, they certainly are. You know, Phil Simms is having a good year, and Joe Montana's off to a great start this season. You know, I happen to really believe something, that if Joe Montana could lead the 49ers to the Super Bowl again this year, they could win that game, that this may be the last year of Joe Montana's career.
He's still got some contract time, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, heck, everybody's got contract time, but Father Time doesn't know about those contracts.
Hey, you heard it here first. His old center says if Joe wins, he's going to say goodbye. Igwebuike's kickoff taken at the 4 by DJ Dozier. Dozier breaks the first tackle and gets out to the 23-yard line. Met there by William Howard. Well, next Saturday we'll have college football on CBS. Number 1 ranked Notre Dame against number 13 Penn State, live at 2:30 Eastern Time. The Irish setting a school record with a victory over SMU yesterday, their 22nd consecutive regular season victory. The last team to beat them was Penn State in the regular season.
You Notre Dame guys love that stuff, don't you?
I love those numbers when they're that high. You bet.
I tell you what, you couldn't ask for a better big game coach than Joe Paterno, though. They are a threat for a serious upset at Notre Dame.
On first down, flags are down. Walker got to the 30-yard line for a gain of about 6. Harry Hamilton made the stop. Is the signal against the Vikings. Coaches don't like holding on running plays. They don't like them in any play, but they really don't like them on running plays.
You know what makes a holding call even worse is when it's done by a wide receiver.
Holding, number 85, offense, 10 yards, still first down.
Brent Novoselsky, the tight end, is the man charged with it.
When you have that call against a tight end and it comes on a sweep, it almost every single time is against an outside linebacker where you get that right arm or left arm. The outside arm gets outside the shoulder pad and you grab a little bit too much cloth and the ref catches you.
Wade Wilson, 4 of 8 passing. Gets some pressure in his flush. Sliding in over the 15-yard line at about the 17. Kurt Jarvis and Kevin Murphy make sure he goes no farther. That'll leave 2nd and about 15. 2nd and 16 for Wilson and the Vikings. Well, the Buccaneers Jones incomplete.
You always found that wave thing curious, Tim. You know, in San Francisco, our fans used to do it when we had the ball. They're sort of unclear on the concept. It's nice to make noise, but don't do it when I'm trying to listen to my quarterback talk.
It's audience participation, Randy. I mean, it comes in the price of the ticket. Jerry Burns looks the same whether they're waving or not. Third down, 16. Jordan. Good defensive play, stopping him well short. Donnie Elder coming up to trip him up. Well, you always look for those early big plays. Certainly for Tampa Bay, that was one there. They had to stop the Vikings on that drive. They're down 17-3 with a lot of time left. They got the turnover they wanted, turned it into 3 points, and now they'll have the ball back.
Well, we've got a rare combination. The crowd and the Bucs are into the game to this point.
Scribner, first punt for Minnesota. Taken out of bounds by Drury at the 37-yard line. So not bad field position for the Buccaneers when we return. Tim Ryan with Randy Cross at Tampa Stadium on a beautiful sunny afternoon in South Florida. And Minnesota leading the Buccaneers 17-3, but Tampa Bay with good field position now as you see the Vikings offense getting organized for the next series.
They're usually going over fronts. You know, the offensive linemen are telling the coordinator, telling Bob Schnelker, or the offensive line coach, saying, now this is where the guy's lining up, and this is what I think we can get. But it's kind of like a wide receiver. Everybody thinks they can block the other guy.
Testaverde wants to throw on first down. Short man Wilder gets about 6. Wilder, the release man on that play. They had deep receivers downfield. Ray Berry made the stop. They wanted to run the ball here. You said Ray Perkins looking for maybe 45 carries, but in the first quarter they were just unable to do much on the ground at all, and then suddenly got behind. So as you can see, Wade Wilson's outrushed the Tampa Bay runners so far.
But they're catching them. They're getting closer.
Tim Newton into the lineup defensively at left tackle, and Doug Martin also replacing Noga and Thomas. Second and a long 2. Lars Tate stopped short of the first down by Doug Martin, veteran coming off knee surgery, missing a better part of the first half of the season. Millard and Noga come back in defensively. We want to remind you that we've got more football action ahead today. The Giants at 8-1 against the fading Rams. LA really up against it. That's a definitely must-win situation for them, the way the 49ers are going, Randy.
LA doesn't win that game, they have no hopes for a divisional crown this year. They'll have to be thinking exclusively wild card.
3rd and a yard. Buccaneers. Tate. Studwell hit him. It'll be close.
We'll see Scott Studwell come in from the left, number 55 on here. There he is on the left side of your screen. Just scraping and cleaning. He sees a hole and he fills it. Rolls right up there and hits right through Tate.
Travis Curtis, number 49, in there behind him. But Tate got the first down. So the Buccaneers keep the football. 9:15 to go in the first half. Trailing 17-3. Approaching midfield.
I think we have to look for Tampa Bay trying to push the ball down the field a little bit more. Instead of those little dinkum kind of passes, let's see them do about 15, 20-yard patterns, something over the middle.
One setback. Wilder got maybe a yard. straightened up by Henry Thomas, number 97. Testaverde last week against Cleveland threw the ball 50 times, completed 27. 3 touchdowns, but 4 pickoffs, and the 2 of them in the first half led to as many passes as he threw. Well, Tampa Stadium, the site of our game today in the NFC Central battle, with the Minnesota Vikings jumping out to an early 17-0 lead, but the Buccaneers coming back with a field goal by Igwebuike. Second down and 8. Flags everywhere before the play was completed.
False start, number 74, offense, 5 yards, still second down.
Paul Gruber charged with a false start, the left tackle, number 74.
Play starts out of the white when the play starts. Okay.
Well, the play of this game so far happened in the first quarter. Vinny Testaverde back to pass, hits Hill, and then Edwards, number 27, hits Hill aggressively, and Rutland picks the ball up and gets in there for 6 points. Number 48, Reggie Rutland, 27-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown.
That opened up a 10-0 lead. And then a Wilson to Jordan pass made it 17-0. Second down and 13, a draw play. William Howard. And Howard gets maybe 4 yards. Coming up was Darrell Fullington to make the stop, number 29. Fullington, with relatives here in Florida, has some of his family at the game, as does Carl Lee. Third down and 10. Again, another key play for the Buccaneers here to try and get points here in the first half. 7 seconds and counting down. James Wilder lost the ball, but he stepped out of bounds. So it will be Tampa Bay football. What a break for the Buccaneers.
And James doesn't know it yet.
Tremendous play by Wilder. Audrey McMillan came up with the loose ball, but Wilder had already gone out.
Wilder just swings out of the backfield, a little crossing pattern, and Mike Merriweather, number 57, just does not make the tackle. And watch his left foot. We're going to see him step out of bounds. Right foot goes out of bounds first, then the left foot out of bounds, and then he fumbles.
The ball just bounced right into the hands of Audrey McMillan.
He was running faster than the ball there.
But it's first down at the 30-yard line. Brave piece of running by Vinny Testaverde to the 20-yard line. Breaking 2 tackles. Ken Clark and Al Noga with cracks at him. Testaverde, who built himself up to 230 yards, draws a smile there from Joe Ferguson on the sideline.
You saw Ray Perkins talking to Joe Ferguson, and he's turned to him and said, "Stay ready. If this guy keeps running, you're going to be in the ball game pretty quick." Now, Vinny wouldn't want to describe Vinny as a real tough, aggressive style, quick running back quarterback. That's sort of an act of self-defense.
Second and a yard. Tate. To the 12-yard line. First down, Tampa Bay. Ray Berry on the stop.
Tampa Bay is staying with their game plan. They want to pound the ball and they want to run it, and thus far on this drive they've been very, very effective. But you can't really count Vinny's scramble. That was sort of an impromptu thing.
How about that Detroit score, shutting out Green Bay 17-0.
That seems to be the story this year in the NFL, Tim. There aren't many dominant teams. Teams will play real good, and there's another example, New England. 28-0 with New Orleans. You know, teams will play good, and the next week they fall asleep.
Tate on first down, and he'll lose a yard. Vikings came blasting through. Keith Millar, Noga right behind him, Studwell. And a loss of about 2. We're told there's a power outage in New England affecting that game. Certainly must be affecting the telecast. And I guess the Patriots are having a power outage too, huh?
Yeah, 28-0. Maybe their owner, Victor Cayenne, decided to pull the plug on them.
2nd and 11. Buccaneers at the 13-yard line of Minnesota. Testaverde almost picked off Mike Merriweather. Testaverde trying to force that to the tight end, Ron Hall. Seems that the Vikings secondary is doing a good job on coverage because Testaverde is getting some time here. Can't find an open man.
Well, their cornerbacks, Rutland and Lee, are so physical. They can take wide receivers out of games. Look at that. Vinny was closer to hitting Mike Merriweather in the numbers than he was of hitting Hall. Look at Merriweather knows if I'd have caught that ball, I'd have been gone. That would have been 6 points if Merriweather could have caught it because there was nothing between him and the end zone.
Tim Newton giving Millard a rest. 3rd down, 11. Bruce Hill, short of the first down, inside the 5. They'll spot it near the 3-yard line. They need to get inside the 2 for a first down.
It would not be a poor decision at this point to go for it. Go for the first down. Go for a touchdown. You're down by 2 scores to a much superior team. It's not going to hurt you.
They're going. 3 tight ends. Hall, 82, Harris, 86, and Walker, 85 come in. And now the Buccaneers will have a timeout. And no, Vikings have taken the timeout. We'll be back.
This way, Mr. Starr.
Life with me dad's a real scream. He needs a star vehicle, like my all-new Cutlass Supreme. It's a fab four-door that really screams. Hello, Daddy.
This is not your father's Oldsmobile. This is the new generation.
An intense animated conversation between Perkins and Testaverde preparing for this huge play for the Buccaneers. What are they going to do, Randy?
Well, I think that was all just a setup for the guys across the way. That was just a show. I think they're going to come out in like the I formation, lead block with James Wilder, get somebody off the ball and send Lars Tate high over the top.
They've got Howard in Wilder's spot here, and Howard is considered the better run blocker of the 2 fullbacks. Number 43, Tate behind it. No. Joey Browner split through the blocks and stopped him well short. In fact, they lost about a yard.
That play never had a chance. As soon as that ball was snapped and Vinny flips it out, this play is going to be stopped. McHale, 73, is out in front. He's not doing much of anything. See Jackie Walker trying to make a block. The Vikings had that so strung out. Watch the lateral pursuit of the Minnesota Vikings. Joey Browner, number 47. They keep the running back in front of them at all times. Look at that. Studwell, Berry, Browner. He never had a chance.
So the Vikings take over at their own 5-yard line. Herschel Walker to the 10. Harry Hamilton on the stop. 3:24 remaining first half. Fact of the matter is the Bucs failed to deliver there. The running game is what they needed to have today, and that was the perfect opportunity to show it.
Harry Hamilton, number 39, just back in this week. Seems to be bothering a little bit, limping a little bit on, hopefully not on that bad knee.
They haven't won since he went out on the Detroit game. Rick Finney has the first down. To the 17-yard line of Minnesota, Randall and Marv on the tackle.
In this situation, the kind of offense we're going to see the Minnesota Vikings run, I believe, is going to be one that's going to limit the number of bad possibilities. They're not going to take too many chances here. They're going to feature Finney and Walker running the ball, and Wade Wilson, if he does throw, will throw very conservative passes.
17-3, Vikings lead, stopping the Buccaneers inside the 5. Play action. Carter to midfield. Rod Jones pulled him down from behind. 32-yard pass play. Wilson to Carter, and we've reached the 2-minute warning here in Tampa Bay. The Vikings lead at 17-3. Ryan and Randy Cross back here at Tampa Bay with 2 minutes to play first half.
We're going to see here. Watch this play action fake. Wilson doesn't really fake that much, and the linebackers bite like crazy. Just throws a quick little slant, very safe, very easy pass, and Carter turns it into a big play. As good a play as this is, I think this is a good illustration of the type of ability Anthony Carter has. Anthony Carter is a good wide receiver. A great wide receiver with great wide receiver speed would have scored on that play.
Well, we must point out also he's been bothered by a hamstring during the first part of the season, so whether he's up to full speed or not, we can't be totally sure. He got to midfield. Jordan tripped up after a gain of about 6. Rod Jones, the cornerback, number 22. That'll leave 2nd and 3. Vikings would love to have the pressure placed on Tampa Bay of getting another touchdown here before halftime.
Well, Steve Jordan, that'll teach him complaining about being basically a blocker now at tight end. Wade Wilson's found his number quite a few times so far this first half.
2nd and long 2. Herschel Walker nowhere. Met by Reuben Davis. With linebacker help behind him, no gain. Timeout called on the field. We'll be back. Minnesota on top. Irv will have all the scores, highlights, and latest information from around the NFL activity today. Also, Fun in the Sun, the story of how the Red Hot Giants kept the heat on this week to get Ram tough. That game upcoming later today, the Giants and the Rams. Vinny Testaverde anxious to get back out there. Defense has to stop the Vikings here. Wilson trying to get more points and trying to force that one into Hassan Jones, broken up by Rod Jones.
Good play by Rod Jones. You know, that's the kind of play right there. You see a defensive back reaching around and batting a ball down. It's completely up to that back judge as to whether or not he is going to call a penalty and pass interference. It's a very objective call.
Carl Lee said what he doesn't like about that is it's inconsistent. Some officials call it one way, some another.
Well, that's the human factor. I don't think you're ever going to completely be able to eliminate that.
4th down, Vikings will punt. 1:11 on the clock. Willie Drury back. Scribner standing at his 42. Hits from the 47. And it is into the end zone, a touchback. So Vinny Testaverde will have a 104 drill here as the Buccaneers come on the field.
Well, I don't think the crowd's going to like much what it's going to see here, but I believe Ray Perkins is going to stay very, very conservative, keep this ball on the ground, and try to limit and really cut his losses and not let any big mistakes happen here and go into the locker room down by 3 touchdowns.
Well, we run these scores by you. We'll be giving you the full picture at halftime with Brent and Irv on the NFL Today. A couple of interesting scores. A 59-yard field goal by Pete Stoyanovich in that Miami and Jets game. That's the 3rd longest ever the NFL. Mark Cooper's come in for rookie Carl Backs at guard for the Bucs. Stamps trying to get loose. Good second effort, gets about 5 yards on the carry.
You know, that's one of the things Sylvester Stamps does very, very well. You see him on screens and draws and little swing passes. He is extremely tough on that. I know he used to drive the 49er defensive coaches absolutely crazy when he was with the Atlanta Falcons.
Bucs take another timeout with 52 seconds left. Yeah, he's one of those real quick little water bug type guys. 5'7", pardon me, and 180-pounder out of Jackson State, and he came over as a free agent from Atlanta. He can be a very dangerous guy if he gets into the open field. Testaverde and Ferguson, Perkins, all involved in the discussion here about the next play. And a reminder again that the Giants and the Rams follow our activity from Tampa Bay today.
There's defensive coordinator Floyd Peters with the headset there, and he of the lack of hair on the head. Floyd, I think, without a doubt, the defensive coach in the NFL right now, and his record speaks for itself.
The guy that really works to keep himself in shape, too. He gets into that weight room and hits those machines. Great shape. Second down and 4. Incomplete. The tight end, Ron Hall, shadowed closely on the play. The linebacker, Mike Merriweather. Merriweather, the man of the moment last week when he blocked the punt that went through the end zone and scored a safety. He didn't even know that it was a safety. He was all upset at himself for not smothering the ball and getting a touchdown in the end zone. He thought that's what he needed. But once the ball had gone through the end zone, it was a safety. Scored by Merriweather for the Vikings, giving them the win over the Rams. He said, you know, I was starting to cry at my mistake, and then I cried for joy when they told me the game was over and we won. Tight end William Harris bobbled but then held on, got only a couple of yards, a flag downfield.
I think the referee might have detected a little pass interference or a pick on Tampa Bay's part.
Back judge Jim Poole discussing it with referee Dick Jorgensen. William Harris, the backup tight end out of Texas, number 86. Signal is against the Vikings. Buccaneers consider the options.
Illegal use of the hands to the face. Defense. 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. First down.
That'll give him the first down after the 30-yard line. 42 seconds still remain. Rutland is charged with the penalty.
There's Jerry Burns saying, how can you possibly call that? This half's almost over. You're trying to kill me. Jason, there's Rutland, number 48. We're going to see. Watch his hands. Right up into the face, into the throat, back to the face with the right hand. You can't do that.
Pretty good jab technique, but doesn't work too well on a football field.
That's their style of defense, though. They're aggressive.
Testaverde in trouble. Flips the ball out. Wilder struggling close to the marker. Timeout called by Tampa Bay, their last. 29 seconds left. Vikings probably thought they should have had a sack here.
They should have had a sack here. Either Millard should have gotten him here in the middle. He just falls down and Grimes pushes him and helps him a little bit. Dolman should have had him here. But Vinny is playing the kind of game that these fans here in Tampa want to look to see. Look at that. That's resourceful. He's going down. He's almost completely down. Flips it to Wilder. Wilder's going to join into the act. He's not going to go down. He's not going to stop. And Audrey McMillan just barely manages to haul him in and stop him.
And watching the replay, it didn't appear that he was in the grasp and control, the terminology in the rule book, in the hands of Dolman, and so his lateral pass was indeed a very alert and legal play, just short of the first down. Ball at the 40-yard line. Good effort by Testaverde and by James Wilder. And each team with one timeout remaining. It's number 27. 20 seconds on the clock. Field goal would have tied the game for them against the Vikes, but time had expired. 20 seconds remain here in the first half. Frank Pillow activated this week when Danny Peebles placed inactive because of an eye injury. The protection for Testaverde. The carrier, incomplete. Carrier had a chance at it, couldn't squeeze it. The ball a little underthrown, which worked in Carrier's favor because Rutland was a stride deeper than he was, but Carrier unable to come up with a catch. 13 seconds remain.
Vinny getting back to the huddle. He ran all the way downfield to congratulate his wide receiver on not catching the ball. Actually, if he'd have caught that ball, all that would have really done would have been a little extra padding this passing stats because the clock would have ran out. He was inbounds.
43 catches on the season for Carrier. 13 seconds on the game clock. Good catch by Drury. No, incomplete. Rutland, the coverage on Drury, and he couldn't hold on after the contact. Brings it to 8 seconds remaining. Third down from the 45 of Tampa Bay. 8 seconds on the clock. Wilder fumbles the ball out of bounds, and that'll do it. Zeros across here to the 30-yard line. Second effort gets him out to about the 33. William Howard on the stop for Tampa Bay. So Wade Wilson will bring on the offense of Minnesota. Wilson outrushed Walker in the first half, 32 yards and 3 carries. And he is 7 of 13 to this point for 80 yards and a touchdown.
You talk about Herschel Walker, Tim, and Herschel said, when I was at Dallas, they said, you stop Walker, you stop this team. There's so much talent on this Minnesota Viking offense. You stop Herschel, you have all these other guys to worry about.
Here is Walker on first down. And again, the Buccaneers swarm to the ball and hold him to a gain of about a yard. Walker admits that he would like to be running more from the eye. He's more comfortable there. The Vikings recognize that. They're adding more plays for him each week in that department. And he can see the holes and operate better from that position, he thinks, than as a split back.
You know, both the offensive coordinator Bob Schnelker and head coach Jerry Burns made the comments about Herschel's vision. They say he gets back in that eye formation. He can see so much of the field, and he's such a great cutback runner.
Running from the split now with Fenny, the fullback, in motion. Rondy Weston tripping up Wade Wilson, and he got maybe a half a yard. So good defensive work again by Tampa Bay. Dozier comes in with the play. With Alfred Anderson on the inactive list, he and the other running backs would alternate bringing in the plays frequently for Minnesota. But Anderson out of there, they've had to alter that a little bit. Some of the wideouts and other people will be involved. You saw Dozier bring that one in. Leo Lewis, short of the first down. Good open field tackle on him.
And Wilson was lucky he got rid of that ball when he did. Watch the safety blitz. Ricky Reynolds will come out of the slot here. See that? Number 29, top of your screen. He's going after the quarterback. Everybody else is running downfield, and Wilson just gets his pass off to Lewis in time.
Lewis with a stretch at least brought a measurement, but it appears to be just short. And it is. Fourth and just a few inches, and the Vikings are going to go for it.
This could be a very crucial decision, Tim. At this stage of the game, I don't know if you want to let Tampa Bay have this much life. You don't get a first down here, Tampa's going to get a great emotional lift.
Darrell Ingram and Brent Novoselsky, the extra tight ends, come in to join Jordan. Vikings are 4 of 6 in this situation this year. Finney and Walker will be the running backs.
You saw Jerry Burns stroll down the sideline, walk up to Bob Snooker and say, "Coach, what are we running?"
Well, they're running the eye.
Herschel over the top.
It'll be close. Now this is one of those, the officials do the best they can to spot the ball with authority. And then whatever happens, happens. You saw Ray Perkins saying, "We stopped him." You saw Jerry Burns looking like Jerry Burns looks on every play.
If they did stop him, they stopped him by what'll probably be about 1.5 inches.
First down. Joe Ferguson is saying impossible.
Well, there's very little doubt when you see Minnesota Vikings in an I formation. Herschel's back there about 5 yards deep. He's going up high. Finney dives over the top, takes out the linebackers, and Herschel goes up over the top and meets a linebacker right over the top of the pile.
So the Vikings approach midfield at their 43. Wilson has a first down, continuing to lead the rushing attack of the Minnesota Vikings. 14-yard pickup for the quarterback.
Well, it's a credit to the Tampa Bay defense. They're doing a fine job covering these Minnesota Viking receivers. He just can't find anybody open. You see Herschel Walker in the middle of screen number 34 trying to bounce off Marvey there. And Wade Wilson says the heck with it and just pulls it down and runs. You know, as good as they are covering, having a quarterback like Wade Wilson that can run, you've got to start covering him with the linebackers.
Walker, again, good job by the Bucs. Irvin Randall meets him. Talking with Randall about stopping this guy here who's selecting a hole to run through. Randall said ultimately, after coaxing it out of him, "Yeah, sure, there's an individual competition against a great running back. I want to look after the game at my stats and see if I've beaten this man one-on-one." Well, Randall was there and had help from Winston Moss and Kevin Murphy. Held him to under a yard. Nowhere to go. Moss, number 58, for a loss.
Tempers are starting to flare a little bit. David Huffman, number 72 for the Minnesota Vikings, is in there pushing guys around. And defensive players, offensive linemen tend to get downfield a lot, especially guys like this. He's a real hustler out of Notre Dame. He'll start hitting guys just a little bit late. Not really at the whistle, but right after the whistle.
He's probably a little cranky. Didn't get much sleep last night because his wife, Kathy, delivered new baby boy yesterday.
That's right. Jack Connor Huffman, 8 pounds, 13 ounces.
Congratulations, Kathy Huffman, back there in Minneapolis. Third down and 12. Wilson running again. May have another first down. Injured Buccaneer down in the secondary near the Tampa Bay 30-yard line, away from the play. Harry Hamilton, and Hamilton, who's coming off a knee injury, missed the last 4 games and may have re-injured it. He is not only hurt, but you can see he's really upset at being injured. Key performer in that secondary of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Wade Wilson has a little trouble here with the snap. Get the shotgun, can't put a handle on that thing, tape a handle to that thing. And then he decides, what the heck, watch this move coming up here. He puts a move on Ricky Reynolds. Quarterbacks aren't supposed to be able to do that.
He's a running fool today, Wade Wilson. 58 yards on 6 carries. That's better than any of these high-priced running backs. And Hamilton
obviously highly distressed and hurting pretty good.
6-year man out of Penn State. Very intelligent performer back there in the secondary. They count on his leadership, his decision-making. He makes his secondary calls, and they haven't won a game since he went out of the lineup.
We talked to him on Friday, Tim. I needed to have my Webster's next to me. That guy's got a heck of a vocabulary, and he's not afraid to use it.
Another 4th and short, and again the Vikings will go for it. This time inside the 35. Wilson nearly nailed, and is. It was Mark Robinson who had the rush on him, and the Vikings trying to be a little tricky there on 4th and a foot going to the air. Tampa Bay didn't buy it.
This is a case of maybe getting a little bit cocky and overconfident. They're going play action. They're going for the whole thing. They don't even take into consideration it's short yardage. You're going to get blitzes. You're going to get pressure from the outside. And Robinson, number 30, should have really had him in the backfield.
As it was, they dropped him for about a 1-yard loss and take over the ball at their own 35-yard line.
Those are the kind of play calls that perpetuate problems with play calling and coaches, and that's why articles are written about things like that.
First down, Testaverde wants to throw, but he's got pressure. That'll be about a 2-yard gain to the back, Lars Tate. His release man getting him about 2, but good pressure from the Vikings pass rush led by Dolman.
Testaverde is not getting very much time to set up. He's basically being able to take his 5-7 step drop. He gets about a second once he gets set, and then he's moving. And when he's moving, he looks desperate. He's playing like he looks like he's playing like he's scared.
He's 10 out of 17 at this point. Protection was actually better in the first half and has degenerated as the game has gone on. And there's Dolman with a sack. 3rd Viking sack. All the way back to the 27-yard line.
Paul Gruber, the left tackle for the Tampa Bay Bucs, gets beaten here by Dolman, 56, who just comes in the left side of your screen there. He was very proud up until this point of the fact that Dolman was the only guy that had beaten him for a sack, and it had happened on a play-action pass. So he says, you know, guys beat you inside sometimes on play-action. That's understandable, but man-on-man, I can block Chris Dolman. Not on that play.
Vikings won the first outing earlier in the season, holding the Bucs to only 3 points. And he is sacked again at the 20-yard line. Dolman one more time. Turning into Gruber's worst nightmare.
Now, the last play we saw the replay, it was a clean case of just getting beat. Now watch Gruber. He's taking Dolman upfield. He's got him beat. He's got great position. As a lineman, there's nothing you can do about that. The quarterback decides to step up. The defensive lineman has his eye on the quarterback. You don't know where he is.
Tampa Bay will have to punt. Lewis from his 40. Gets to midfield. 8:40 to play, 3rd quarter. Minnesota first down at their own 50 when we return.
GM is bigger, Ford is richer, but neither of them beats Chrysler when it comes to satisfying the customer. Who says so? You do. For 3 years in a row, Chrysler has the highest customer satisfaction of any American car company. Not GM, not Ford, Chrysler, both for our cars and our dealers. Hey, we wouldn't mind being bigger, and richer wouldn't be bad either. But meanwhile, I guess we'll just have to settle for being better.
Tampa, Florida. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're at Tampa Stadium, not far from Tampa Bay, that divides Tampa and St. Petersburg. Beautiful Clearwater. And the Vikings, who won the first game earlier this season against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in command here with 8:40 to go, and they have the football at their own 49-yard line. Herschel Walker gets 5, maybe 6 yards. Ricky Reynolds tripped him up. Erwin Randall there to help. We're told Harry Hamilton apparently has re-injured his bad knee. They're working on it, but they hope to get him back in.
That last play we saw Herschel Walker run is a play that they've put in since Herschel got there. It's that counter play that everybody uses, pulling the backside guard and tackle, and it's one that Herschel really excels at.
Sherman Cockcroft in the secondary, replacing Hamilton as he has the past 4 games. Number 25. Wilson. They run again. First down. John Cannon got him, but not before he moved the markers.
Flags down. Looks like they're going to have a little holding against the Vikings offensive line.
Wilson up to 64 yards prior to that flag.
Tripping, not holding. You know, so far in this game, this has been the Wade Wilson show offensively for the Vikings.
Tripping, number 63, offense, 10 yards from the line of scrimmage, still second down.
Typical center trick. Kirk Loudermilk. Explain that one, Randy Cross.
Why explain it? If they hadn't thrown the flag, it'd been a great play.
Is that
you refer to him as resourceful when the flags aren't thrown.
Oh, okay, resourcul. All right, just checking. Is that the kind of thing you practice? Hope you get away with it?
It's a cheap shot if they catch it, but it's being resourceful.
Second down and 15. Out of the backfield. Jordan, rather, just a little delay into the middle by the tight end. Turns into about an 8, maybe 9-yard gain. It'll leave 3rd down and 6. Erwin Randall on the stop.
With all the weapons this Minnesota Viking offense has, they've got Herschel Walker, they've got Anthony Carter, Steve Jordan, Hassan Jones, Leo Lewis. I mean, it goes on and on and on. The guys they can put on the field offensively. It's curious to me that they're so conservative in their play calling, so conservative in this offensive style.
Well, that's what a lot of Minnesota fans are asking weekly. That's not conservative, but it's also off the mark. Intended for Jim Gustafson. Ricky Reynolds had a better shot at it than he did as Wilson just overthrew it. So Minnesota stopped again. We'll have to punt. And the Buccaneers keep themselves in the hunt here. 6:45 still to go in the 3rd. Minnesota controlling the game, but not able to keep an offensive drive going here. Scribner will stand at his own 39-yard line, awaiting the snap. Drury at the 10-yard line of Tampa Bay. Willie Drury, pardon me. Drury from the 9. Slips at the 15. 37-yarder. Drury gets it back to about the 16-yard line. We'll be right back. NFL football on CBS at Tampa Stadium in Tampa. 6:35 to go, 3rd quarter. Vikings lead at 17-3, but Tampa Bay just stopped the last offensive drive. They'll start from their 16.
So far, the Minnesota defense has completely stifled, harassed, sacked, and sort of beaten up Vinny Testaverde.
And yet his numbers aren't so bad. He's 10 of 17, but only 83 yards. Hit by Travis Curtis on Lars Tate. Gain of maybe 1.5 yards.
Now here's what Vinny's had to put up with today. Look at that. 4 sacks, 8 hurries. 8 of those hurries could have been 2 or 3 of those could have been sacks. Not knocking down balls or batting them down. People are dropping his passes. it's been a long day already, and it's just barely half over.
Testaverde passing at 54% coming into the game. 14 touchdowns, but 14 interceptions.
Well, last year at this time, he had 22 interceptions.
Millard meeting Wilder just over the line of scrimmage, and less than a yard gain.
You know, Vinny talked a lot about patience and poise, and there's Mike Shula, special offensive assistant that Perkins brought in here to Tampa Bay, and his responsibility is working on a daily basis with Vinny Testaverde and helping him develop that patience and develop the recognition he needs to be a top-quality NFL quarterback.
Mike Shula played under Ray Perkins at Alabama, was his quarterback there, and of course is the son of Miami coach Don Shula. His brother David coaching over on the Dallas staff. 3rd down and 5. Testaverde gets protection, but the coverage is good. Good work by Carrier. 1st down at midfield. Reggie Rutland got him there. Randy, there was a case of a receiver helping out the quarterback. The coverage was tight, but Carrier got himself loose.
Well, they get pressure on Vinny and they flush him. And watch, Rutland's doing a good job. He's covering him very well, but Carrier sees his quarterback in trouble and starts heading back towards the middle of the field, back towards the quarterback, and then loses Rutland a little bit with a move, and Rutland manages to drag him down. But it was a good job of Carrier adjusting to a quarterback that was in trouble.
So the Bucs just into Minnesota territory at the 49. Receiver again.
And that's the kind of thing that Carl Lee has not seen very much of after an all-pro Pro Bowl year last year. People are not going after Carl Lee. And here's one of the reasons why. He has great reactions, good instincts, very intelligent, and can play the corner position as well, if not better, than anybody else in the NFL right now. And people are convinced, why beat our heads against the wall? He says, hey, I get 3 or 4 plays a game. I want people to come after me.
2nd and 10. Studwell changing up the defensive formation. Wilder stuffed by Ray Berry. A yard at most. Berry number 50. Young linebacker. When they traded Jesse Solomon and David Howard in the Herschel Walker deal, suddenly Berry found himself a starter. Of course, Mike Merriweather came over from Pittsburgh, 2 new starters at linebacker, and I think there were a lot of folks who thought maybe Berry wasn't ready to be a starter on this outstanding defensive team. Just his 3rd year out of Baylor, hadn't really played much. But Floyd Peters happy with the job he's doing.
Floyd Peters is very happy with the way Ray Berry is playing. He went from a kamikaze, crazy special teams guy to next day he's a starter.
3rd down, 9. Noga, 5th, Viking sack. 4th down.
At this point, Vinny's going to have to start either rolling to his right or rolling to his left, because being a statue and standing in the middle really isn't doing him any good. This Viking defensive line is too good and too mobile to just stand in the pocket. He won't last.
Good punt by Chris Moore. Into the end zone. Will leave a touchback. 52 yards for the Alabama rookie. 3:40 to go. 3rd quarter. 17-3 Minnesota lead. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross, Tampa Stadium. Good shot there by Vinny Testaverde. A little over the head number with his paper cup, but unfortunately you don't get a 1st down on that play. You can see in the play selection they've been pushed out of their attempt to rush against Minnesota today because they fell behind early.
Well, at the pace they're at, they're going to throw 40-plus passes, and that's not how you beat these guys.
Now, against the nose man, and I think Wilson's going to get an intentional grounding penalty. Yes. So the Buccaneer rush rises up.
Jarvis was the guy back there early in the season that hit Wade Wilson and broke that knuckle in their first meeting earlier in the year.
Intentional grounding. Number 11. Lost it down. Second down.
And Wade Wilson's on the left of the screen. Now watch Jarvis, 95. He's going to be coming around on a stunt here. He's got a clear beat on Wilson. Wilson at this point knows it and just takes it and flips the ball into the ground right at Finney's feet.
Some further discussion going on down there. Now they're marking the ball off. You heard them announce loss of down, but they didn't announce the penalty yardage, and now it's being marked up.
Grounding. Number 11, offense. He threw the ball from more than 10 yards behind the line. Therefore, we go to the spot from which he threw the ball. It's second down.
Dick Jorgensen now having marched it off to where he could actually pass the ball into the ground. And it'll be second down and about 22 from the 8-yard line. So again, with more than a quarter to play, the Buccaneers with a defensive opportunity here, and the crowd sensing that gets into it. Walker is stuffed by Reuben Davis.
That's about the 5th or 6th big play Reuben Davis has made today on the running game, and he stopped Herschel Walker dead in his tracks, and not too many people stop Herschel quite that way.
Walker has carried 12 times for only 15 yards.
Now watch, Herschel gets the ball flipped out to him, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, Davis is going to appear. Gets him right in the face, holds on, gets a little help from Moss and the rest of his buddies, and they finish him off.
Davis came absolutely free on that play. Third down and longer. Jones, Lewis, Carter, and Gustafson in. Dozier out of the backfield. Got to the 20-yard line, well short of the first down, just back near the original line of scrimmage. Mark Robinson and Bobby Futrell stopped him there. So the Buccaneers do the job defensively. Let's see if they can turn it around offensively behind the inspiration from these folks. Willie Drury awaiting the punt, standing at the Tampa Bay 41.
Tampa's problem to this point has not been their defense. It's their offense is again a physical mismatch with the Minnesota defense.
Short. Drury with room. Willie Drury brings it back to the 34-yard line of Minnesota. Mark Disbovic stopped him there. .152 to go in the third. Tampa Bay ball at the Minnesota 34 after a 33-yard punt by Bucky Scribner. And it is a hot day here, Randy Cross, although not as hot as it often is. There's a breeze blowing and there are some clouds in the sky. But the fourth quarter should physically belong to Tampa Bay.
It really should. Look, physically it should. Realistically, I don't believe so. I don't think this Minnesota defense can tire enough to make a difference.
Lars Tate to the 30-yard line for a pickup of 4. Tripped up by Henry Thomas. Vikings using Newton and Thomas at the tackles. Millard's had quite a bit of rest. No doubt they're pacing him through the warmer weather.
And as important as this possession is for Tampa Bay, look how stingy that Viking defense is in the third quarter. They are the best in the NFL during the third quarter.
Tampa Bay's only points came in the second quarter.
And there's 2 good reasons why. Paul Wiggins, the gentleman on the left with his hands shielding his eyes, and Floyd Peters with the sunglasses, the defensive coordinator. touchdown, it is kind of curious. You got to agree with the crowd. Why are they running out the clock?
And that brings on Millard, of course, now that it's a passing down. Newton comes off the field. The extra backs come into the secondary. So the pressure on Testaverde to produce the third down pass play right here. Wilder and Stantz in the backfield. Drury, first down, Tampa Bay. Reggie Rutland on the tackle.
It'd make Vinny's life a lot easier make his life a lot easier on himself if he do that on first down instead of waiting until Millard and all those guys know he's got to throw the ball.
So we've reached the end of the third quarter with the score: Minnesota Vikings 17, Tampa Bay 3. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Today's NFL football is brought to you by ICO.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Cadillac and your local Cadillac dealer. Discover why the only way to travel is Cadillac style. MasterCard, master the moment until the 21st century. And by 98-calorie Lowenbrau Light, the one light beer with a strong character.
Buccaneer first down. Tampa Bay driving here at the Minnesota 22. Bruce Hill to the 1-yard line. Joey Browner stopped the touchdown, but it'll be first and goal from the 21-yard gain.
Last two plays, Vinny's got something that he wasn't getting earlier in the game, and that's some good quality pass protection. He's got time for these crossing patterns. Hill's got to come all the way from the right side and cross the field. That takes time. That means pass protection. Good hit to drive him out of bounds by Joey Browner. And you think Vinny's excited? He thinks it's 6.
No, he was clearly out at the 1-yard line. Lawrence Tate stopped short of the goal line. Tim Newton at the bottom of that stack.
The key on a play like this, when a back's going up, somebody's got to meet him in the hole, and Ray Berry meets him right in the hole, dives over and times it perfectly.
13th carry for Tate. Tate is he's a good ball player going over the top. That's one of his specialties. I would think they'll probably try it again on second and goal.
And Berry's very, very good. He's a big play linebacker, according to head coach Jerry Burns.
Testaverde buried at the 5-yard line. Hard to tell whether that was a broken play or whether he intended to keep the ball there.
Well, whichever it wasn't really a pretty sight. He's the last guy you'd really think would be carrying the ball.
He was going to keep it. Absolutely.
Seems to be some sort of confusion, but he was going to go. Looked like he wanted to go to his right, but Dolman got upfield so quick he took it away.
I think on that look there, it was a planned play for him to keep it. But when he saw Dolman where he didn't expect to see him, the play was over. Third down. Goal to go from the 5. Wilder. Touchdown. Touchdown catch in the past 2 games. Got away from Carl Lee at the goal line to lean the ball in. Bucks are back in it. Wike for the point after.
Well, somebody better leave a wake-up call for the Minnesota Viking offense, because this Minnesota defense can't win this game all by itself every week. And we see Vinny Testaverde on his touchdown from the ground level, just flips it out to Wilder, and Wilder is not going to be denied. Watch him stretch the ball out for 6 points.
This NFL game summary is sponsored by Levi's 100% Cotton Dockers. If you're not wearing Dockers, you're just wearing pants.
Tim Ryan and Randy Cross at Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers defense has stopped Herschel Walker, Randy. But on the other hand, the Minnesota defense has stopped everything the Bucs have been able to do until that touchdown.
That's right. Vinny Testaverde and the offensive line were the keys to that drive. The offensive line gave Vinny the time, and by giving him that time, he was able to hit the receivers on those crossing patterns.
Well, that certainly made a difference. Whether they can sustain it now or not, they're into the fourth quarter when the Buccaneers feel they have the advantage because of the heat here in Florida. Minnesota has been using all of their defensive linemen, and no doubt an effort to keep them fresh. Dozier to the 24-yard line, stopped by Don Smith.
Let's take another look at that, I think, very, very key play, which really could swing the momentum in Tampa Bay's favor here in the fourth quarter. Testaverde, very simple, just flipping the ball out to Wilder, and Wilder is going to score. He will not be denied. He was going to get in there. And the head linesman, Sanford Rivers, throws those arms up in the air with that. He's great. He can make a signal. There's no real gray area with him. If he makes a call, he makes a call.
World-class signaler. On first down, the Vikings. Finney gets loose. Pickup of about 13 out to the 39-yard line. Rick Finney, the third-year man from Washington.
Well, we saw it earlier in the game, and this is another one of those quick-hitting traps. Watch Loudermilk, 63. McDaniel, 64, gets a good block. Kayla, 69, gets a nice trap, and Finney just gets it right up behind it and hits it quick. We said it earlier, that's the key to a trap play. You got to hit that hole right now. You can't be looking for breaks.
Vikings first down at their 39. Finney again. Got maybe a yard. Well, now for an NFL update, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
And so
from the 41-yard line, 2nd and 9 for the Vikings. Clearly a huge defensive series for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who trail by only 7. An important offensive series for the Vikings to try and regain the momentum. Finney does a good job. Straight ahead for 5. Stopped by Kurt Jarvis from behind, the nose man. Number 70, number 95.
Well, the Vikings have run what seemed to be the same play 3 times in a row. They've trapped to the left, then trapped to the right, and then right there with Finney again, they trapped again. That's sort of the no-nonsense offensive approach that head coach Jerry Burns really does like. You get into a game like this, if you can run the ball effectively, you take the momentum and the spirit out of a young team like the Tampa Bay Bucs.
Third down along 3. Wilson has a man. Gustafson. First down and then some inside the 45. Ricky Reynolds tripped him up there. So the Vikings deliver on third down and are now moving through Tampa Bay territory. Well, the patented Packer comeback started at least against Detroit. Chicago continuing to dominate and shut out the Steelers. Denver in a dogfight with Kansas City. Kevin Murphy. Ray Perkins says he's having an all-pro year. Makes an open field ankle grab there.
You know, I can see Finney out there on the traps. He's a good trap type of running back. Big, solid, strong. But why flip the ball out on a play like that to one of your slower running backs? Give that ball to Herschel. Let one of your speed guys get out there. You want to do that flip real fast like that, you want to get the corner. He can't get the corner like Herschel Walker can get the corner.
Hey, are you blaming Bob Schnaufer?
No. Finney, it's too slow.
2nd and 10. Gustafson again. First down, Vikings to the 31-yard line. Gustafson Robinson finally stopped him.
He did a
13-yard gain.
Very stylish-looking kind of pirouette, turned around and got a face full of Mark Robinson. We see Carl Lee getting his knee examined there on the sideline. Probably might be talking about a little cramps in the calves here for Carl Lee.
There's a likable guy, Carl Lee, the enthusiasm he has for the game and frustration that you were talking about earlier about not getting the action he got last year. He's just gotten to be too good. First down and 10, Vikings. Moving on offense, Walker shakes one tackle, and that's a Walker play. Gets nearly 10 with a second effort. Sun has broken through the light clouds here in Tampa Bay, and the Buccaneers trying to stop this Vikings drive as Tampa Bay got themselves back into it, trailing now only by 7. Lots of time left.
Plenty of time left, Tim. It's almost like Minnesota came to the realization that, well, gee, I guess this is a football game now. We better get out here and pound them a little bit and run the ball, and we need some points.
Second down, about 1.5 yards. Walker would appear to have a Viking first down. Jarvis, Marv, and Murphy all collide with him there. Minnesota, knowing the importance of this game, talking with Jerry Burns yesterday, he's not looking ahead at all next week to the Eagles. Today, we got to win tomorrow. This game against Tampa Bay is the only one that's on my mind and my team's mind. They won a squeaker last week against the Rams. The way things are jammed up in that Central Division, Minnesota simply has got to win each week. Penny, a yard. Rondi Weston made the stop, number 77, right defensive end. Walker has only 26 yards on 14 carries.
Well, Minnesota is going to be adding to the plus side on this stat, I think, right here shortly. You know, you were talking about the Central Division. A lot of analogies between the AFC Central and the NFC Central. Neither one of the winners, whoever wins that division, is not going to have much of the home field advantage.
Before he was thrown back by Marvin Moss.
3, 3rd and 6.
And a forward progress is going to give him about a 2-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
We've got Leo Lewis in the game. This is a situation the Minnesota Vikings love to get the ball in his hands. He's one of those real clutch, very reliable receivers. Anthony Carter spectating at the moment.
Takes the helmet off. Probably not real happy about not being in at this stage. 3rd down. Wilson for Hassan Jones, a fine catch. 1st and goal, Minnesota. Rod Jones pushed him out, but a fine turnaround diving grab by Jones.
Hassan Jones has been a guy in the past that hasn't really gotten the attention I happen to think he deserves. He's a very good receiver, and Wade Wilson hits him with a great pass, but watch this catch. Leaping fingertips, just barely pulls it in. But Hassan Jones is starting to get more and more attention now. Anthony Carter's had an injury-ridden kind of a year, and Hassan Jones has really carried a lot of the load for the Minnesota Vikings.
11 plays already in this drive, keeping the ball from Tampa Bay. 1st and goal. Penny close to the goal line, not there. It'll be 2nd and goal inside the 1. Marv made the tackle, number 99. 6:09 remaining regulation time.
Got a good shot here of a fullback. Watch this. Finney, 31, coming at you. Wants to find a little contact. Robinson puts a good hit on him. He spins and almost gets into the end zone.
Wade Wilson in this half has been accurate, 6 of 7. And he was the leading rusher in the first half. Walker, touchdown. Well, Jerry the goal line this week. He knows more of our trap plays each week. He's learning our offense, and of course we want him in there in scoring territory.
With his size and strength, he's awful tough to stop when you get the ball down here this close. Now watch this. He starts to want to leap. He gets hit in midair. What kind of balance is that? There aren't very many people around that can do that.
Carlos for the point after a flag on the play. 76 yards on 13 plays on that drive, and it used up 7:44 on the clock.
Offsides, number 97, defense. Point is good. 5-yard penalty and a kickoff. We'll kick off on the 40-yard line.
Sean Lee offside for Tampa Bay, and so we have a 24-10 Viking lead. 5:40 to play.
Strong character. The product of Löwenbräu for over 600 years. So when it came time to brew a great light beer, one with a strong character, no effort was spared. Introducing the one light beer with a strong character. 98 calorie Löwenbräu Light.
Tim Ryan with Randy Cross, and you're looking at Herschel Walker on the Vikings sideline, who just scored to widen the lead to 24-10. And most significantly, 7:44 used up from the clock, and a 76-yard drive by the Vikings. Well executed, passing and running. Sylvester Stamps will not bring out Carlos's kickoff, and Tampa Bay will start from their 20-yard line. 5:33 remaining. Well, next Saturday, top-ranked Notre Dame takes on Penn State, the last team to beat Notre Dame in regular season play. And the Irish, of course, looking forward to a national championship. They've still got Miami ahead, but they've got to get by a team that always gives them difficulty. Lou Holtz and Joe Paterno meet next week, 2:30 Eastern Time on CBS Sports.
Vinny Testaverde's in a situation right now. He can no longer afford to be patient. He has to go down the field and make things happen now.
Sylvester Stamps out of the backfield, kind of play that they hope if they can get him enough open that he can find a little space and make a big play. They go to the hurry up right now.
If you have card trouble after the game, look for the performance for courtesy badge.
Stamps again, but the Vikings twice in a row cover him well. That's Brad Edwards, number 27. It'll leave third down at about 2 yards. Mark Carrier looking back at Testaverde to get the count.
Floyd Peters, defensive coordinator from Minnesota, barking signals to his charges.
Wilder has the first down for the Buccaneers out to their 37-yard line.
Was he screaming, watch out for the run up the middle?
Testaverde, sideliner, complete to Drury. Willie Drury got about 4. That gets the ball to the 40-yard line. Now Peters, of course, Randy can't make the substitutions that he'd like to in the hurry up here. But now the first huddle taken by Tampa Bay.
And that's the reason a lot of offenses go to this type of style. I mean, Sam White's made it famous 2 years ago. Everybody was accusing him of cheating because he was using a no-huddle offense all the time, and people couldn't do their situation substitutions.
Testaverde's now 6 of his last 6 passing. And there's number 7. First down, Buccaneers into Minnesota territory. Sylvester Stamps. Incomplete. Intended for Stamps again, too low. Stamps might have caught the ball had he made a dive for it, but you could see he was hoping to turn it into something more by staying on his feet.
Well, there's a lot of danger for a guy 5'7", 180 pounds going over the middle, especially against this Minnesota Viking defense. They want to keep getting him in there and hoping he can break a big play. But sitting in the middle are guys like Merriweather and Joey Brown at number 47 who can separate reality from the here and now pretty quick.
Dolman comes off. Doug Martin goes in at right defensive end. Incomplete, intended for Mark Carrier. Reggie Rutland, good coverage, batted it away.
Good job of being a defensive back on that play by Carrier, number 88, too, knocking that ball down so Rutland couldn't catch it.
Rutland having difficulty getting to his feet. Carl Lee was over there to help him up, but Rutland will need some attention. 3:57 remains. Vikings hold a 24-10 lead. Well, after our football activity, and don't forget the doubleheader game still to come, the Giants and the Rams, we'll have a fine evening of primetime entertainment for you as usual on Sunday evening. One of the world's most accomplished jazz trumpet players, and when he feels like it, he'll tell you what's on his mind. Miles Davis. That's tonight on 60 Minutes. He is a very interesting personality. Followed by Murder, She Wrote, and the CBS Sunday movie, The Return of Sam McCloud with Dennis Weaver. 3rd down and 10. Testaverde hit from behind as he delivered the ball by Dolman, and Testaverde slow to get up. A flag down upfield. Testaverde had a man open, but he didn't see Dolman, who got him from behind.
He was in a very, very, very exposed position when he's back like that, throwing the ball. His arms in motion, it's going forward, and he got hit right in that arm area by Dolman.
Deflected by Crystal.
It looks like the penalty may be...
Contact, number 26, defense, 5 yards, first down.
Audrey McMillan charged with illegal contact, so the Bucs get a break there. Would have brought up 4th down. Instead, they have 1st down.
Now see with his arm in motion, the way that thing is moving, you can get a serious injury to an arm when a guy hits you when you're that exposed.
So the Buccaneers still alive here, 3:52 to go. 45-yard line of Minnesota. Keith Millard, 7th sack of the afternoon by the Vikings. You know, Randy, the writer in Minneapolis, Robert Sansevier, as we see Testaverde down again here, who's been trying to help out in finding a proper nickname for this devastating Vikings defense. And he says, go back to the ancient Vikings. Let's call them the pillaged people. I kind of like that. I got to give him credit for that. They loot and pillage right here.
Now watch Vinny Testaverde. He sees there's nobody open. He goes to go forward and try to scramble. Millard's sitting right there waiting on him. And he's just a little bit slow. Watch here at the end. He gets his leg caught up underneath. Millard puts him down on the ground rather gently, as a matter of fact. But Vinny got his leg got a little tweaked underneath him.
A club record of 50 sacks. 7 of those today.
Which they break in 10 games. And into the game is Joe Ferguson, former Arkansas great.
39 years young. They have only 2 quarterbacks on the roster. 2nd down and 15. Ferguson. Incomplete. Intended for Stamps out of the backfield. Ferguson had no warm-up at all. Came in there and starts firing. 3rd down. Testaverde indicating to Ray Perkins that he can go back in, but Perkins at least to this point, going to stay with Ferguson. 3:30 remaining. We look at some other scores. Miami now up on top of the Jets, and New Orleans, New England. That score's been like that for some time.
As much as they keep going back to Stamps, they're in danger of an interception.
Ferguson flushed up the middle, but play whistled dead before he was tackled.
You know, you keep start, number 72, offense, before the snap, 5 yards, 3, still third down.
Right tackle Rob Taylor.
You keep going back time after time to a guy like Stamps. Good, aggressive, intelligent defensive backs that Minnesota has in quantity are going to start looking for this guy, and you're going to get an interception for a very, very big play.
I believe 3rd and long, about 22 yards to go. Doubleheader action following. The Giants out at the Rams. The Giants with a fine 8-1 record. 6 defensive backs in. Ferguson. Incomplete. Diving knockdown by Carl Lee on the play.
He was about 4 yards past the line of scrimmage when he completed that pass.
When he threw the pass.
When he threw the pass, I should say.
He hoped to complete it. It was Carrier, the intended receiver, and the flag down.
That's what happens when you're resting. You don't get a chance to warm up. You forget about the fact that you have to be behind the line of scrimmage to complete a pass in this league, or even to attempt it.
Illegal forward pass. Quarterback was beyond the line when he threw the ball. 5-yard penalty from the spot of the pass. Lost it down. 4th down.
Well, that's going to make it 4th down and 25 yards to go. And of course, they'll have to go for it anyway. 3:17 to go. Ray Perkins shading his eyes against the sun. Some of the local writers and the fans here have wondered why Ray Perkins has chosen that side of the field to have his team in the sun throughout the game.
It's definitely the hotter side, that's for sure.
Boy, there haven't been any real satisfactory answers to that.
Look for Carrier here. He's their man.
Ferguson airs it out for Drury, and it is intercepted by the Vikings at their 20-yard line. Couple of Vikings there.
They're arguing over it. No, it's my interception. Look at this. There's teamwork.
Michael Brim, who was just signed this week, cut by Detroit, formerly with Phoenix, and he's going to get the ball and the credit.
Well, here's a Hail Mary that is not answered. Looks like Brim's got his hand on the ball. Carl Lee's got his hand on the ball. And Brim wins the wrestling match of teammates to see who gets the pick in the stats.
Michael Brim added just this week.
Joey Browner having a few problems on the sideline. It looks to be cramping up a little bit.
Anthony Carter helping him off. Joey Browner, we haven't called his name too often today, but he's the main man back there, and even the Buccaneer coaching staff and players say that's the guy back there. He makes it happen behind those linebackers, and in fact becomes a linebacker much of the time himself, forcing on the run. 24-10, 3:09 remaining. Vikings from their 20-yard line. Herschel Walker finally gets some running room and has a first down out to the 37-yard line. Harry Hamilton makes the stop on him. Minnesota opening a 3-game road trip. They'll be in Philadelphia next week and then at Green Bay. Back home against Chicago, followed by Atlanta, and then away at Cleveland.
This could be one of those years, Tim, where the winner of this division has about a 9-7 record. And then spends the rest of the playoffs on the road.
Yeah, well, it's often the case. It looks like both Central Divisions are going to head that way because they've got several teams playing well. Green Bay losing to Detroit at last report. That could be a damaging defeat if they can't pull it out behind the Magic Man, Mikowski. Wade Wilson, 13 of 20, 146 yards and a touchdown and 58 yards rushing today. Fine afternoon. Packers indeed coming back against the Lions, but the Bears continue to shut out the Steelers. We'll see how things can be very tight in this division. Buffalo beating up on Indianapolis, and still a tight one between Miami and the Jets. New Orleans, New England. Saints continue to lead. Walker would stop him there for a little gain, if any. Eugene Marv with the first contact. Bob Schnauker has to be happy with Wade Wilson's performance today, I would think. He was quite candid that his quarterbacks have really not delivered, and he hoped the second half of the season would be different. And today, Wade Wilson with a couple of big runs at critical times. The pass to Jordan, that was a big early play. And his numbers very solid indeed.
Without a doubt. And to Vinny Testaverde's credit, he has played well today. He's put up with a lot of harassment. He's put up with a lot of pressure. He's been sacked 7 times, I believe, so far. And he stood up to it very, very well. I made a comment earlier about, you know, he seemed to be almost scared out there. I think I was wrong. I think he played very, very well today.
Tampa Bay will be at the Bears next week, and then they go to Phoenix, followed by Green Bay at home, and then they're at Houston and Detroit. So 4 out of the next 5 on the road is not a pleasant way to spend the next month.
Minnesota's goal right here is just to keep getting first downs. They want to get at least 2 or 3 first downs, run out the clock, and just be sure that Tampa Bay and these fine offensive linemen over on the bench there enjoying their relaxation don't get a chance to get back out on the field.
3rd down and about 3 left for Minnesota. If they get a first down here, that's pretty much going to take Tampa Bay right out of this game. Giants come up next against the Rams. What's happened to those Rams? You know, the Giants are a bit of a surprise to be 8-1. They've had some injuries, and yet they've really played awfully well with the backups doing the job. The Rams, on the other hand, in a very disconcerting slide.
Well, the Rams got off to such a good start, and that good start was keyed by Jim Everett and Henry Ellard having such fabulous starts of the year. Well, since then, the last 4 or 5 weeks, they have not played very well, and San Francisco has had every excuse not to play good with the injuries and everything else they've had. But George Seifert's done a great job holding that team together.
Really critical game for the Rams today at home against the Giants upcoming. Lots of movement along the line of scrimmage, and lots of flags follow. It's like a traffic cop down there, writing the numbers down.
Now let's see, you wanted pastrami, the lean one, right? A little mustard on rye.
This is great. This is great.
Now here's a who shot John going on here. Now who moved first? Are you sure? Did you see it? I didn't see it. Did you see? Who moved first?
Defense, 5 yards, first down.
Yeah, forget the numbers. Just make a decision. Give it to the defense.
It's all their fault. Now we'll watch. It seemed to be sort of a tie between Davis and Lee, and now here we see Lee gets across and makes the contact. Lee, number 97.
Sean Lee, the second-year man from Northern Alabama. Chicago over Pittsburgh is final. So the Bears bounce back. The disconsolate Mike Ditka will at least work another week for them. They move to 6-4. Pickup of about 4 yards by Finney will make it 2nd and, well, let's call it a long 6 yards. And with the clock winding down close to the 2-minute warning, the Vikings can control the rest of it unless they make a mistake. So the Vikings let it go down to the 2-minute warning and will return to Tampa Stadium with Minnesota in control, 24-10. Tampa Stadium on a sunny Florida afternoon. Minnesota in control, 24-10 with 2 minutes to play. Regulation time. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross. And The Vikings look like they have this locked up. They'll go to 7-3. That's their best 10-game start since 1976. Hard to believe. And I guess hard to believe about old Bob Schnelker taking all the heat. His team's doing so well.
He won't take too much heat, though this was a very conservative game. If it wasn't for Wade Wilson, I think the Vikings would have been in trouble today because their game plan was not working very effectively against an aggressive Tampa defense.
Of course, he's been looking for a big game from a quarterback, and he got it from Wilson today. This is Rick Fenny. Fenny inside the 40 for another Viking first down. Harry Hamilton gets them there. One thing you can point to every year about the Vikings is that this is their time of year. They're into the second half of the season, and both Burns and Schnelker talked about this. This is when we usually get good. Let's hope it happens again for us now. We're in first place. This is how we stay there, by a record like this.
Exactly. November's to remember. Tell you what, with that first down and this much time left, we can stick a fork in Tampa. They're done.
First down at the 39. Another discouraging afternoon for Vinny Testaverde and company. That young offensive line without two starters, having to face that fearsome rush by the Vikings. 7 sacks scored by the Pillage people today. Wilson will use up some clock time as we come down to 1:03 and counting down. And don't forget, stay tuned for the Giants at the Rams. Kind of a do or die for the LA Rams to stand up and be counted. And the Giants trying to prove that 8-1 record is a worthy one indeed. Getting a couple of games with Jeff Hostetler at quarterback for the injured Phil Simms, and they win them both. I mean, they really have done a fine job, and credit to Bill Parcells and his staff.
That's right. They've got back-to-back West Coast games. This next Monday night, they've got the 49ers out in San Francisco also.
Keith Millard, they kind of paced him through the game as they just counted down some more. They gave him ample rest through the third quarter. And I guess that paid off. And Ray Perkins gives a wave across field to Jerry Burns, acknowledging defeat here at the hands of the first-place Minnesota Vikings.
Well, that man's defense played a whale of a game. They completely stifled and frustrated Vinny Testaverde early. Vinny started to come on real hard in the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, but it was too little, too late.
Well, so for Randy Cross, I'm Tim Ryan saying so long from Tampa Stadium. Final score, Minnesota 24 and the Bucs 10. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this word from your local station.